Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to one of my Pokemon Draft League Battle Redux videos. Today we are going over a battle that I had earlier this week, or two battles I had earlier this week against one of my other opponents. And the very first video that I did as a summary of one of these battles was against someone who had drafted Mono Ice. Which made team building relatively straightforward, and although I ended up splitting battles with that person. The person who I will be battling, or whose battles I will be showing you today, actually ended up drafting a more varied team, and also they ended up drafting after everyone else in the league. Like, not during the draft. They picked their Pokemon after the draft had been completed and joined up like the next day or so, because they couldn't attend draft night themselves. So they, in theory, well, in one way you could look at it as they only got to pick kind of the dregs of what was left. The other way you could look at it is they got to see everyone's full teams and could potentially draft based on that. So I'm not going to spoil the ending yet, but you can consider either of those two possibilities as what happens here. I will tell you that the team that they built, they picked Dragonite, Blaziken, Ferrothorn, Galarian Weezing, Lucario, Aerodactyl, Espeon, Azumarill, Rotom Frost. Oh, no, sorry, not Rotom Frost. That's Rotom Fan. Wait, no. Rotom. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think our draft sheet has that mixed up. Because it says Rotom F, but I do believe officially Rotom F is Frost, and I think it's like Rotom C is the Fan. Like, anyway, sorry, it's the Fan Rotom. And the 10th one they picked was Umbreon. So they actually picked both Espeon and Umbreon, which I think is kind of fun. And again, yeah, they got Lucario, Aerodactyl, Blaziken, Dragonite, Ferrothorn, a bunch of fun stuff. Oh, and also Azumarill's in there. A lot of physical attackers, not counting, I think the only ones that aren't the physical attackers here, you got the Weezing, which isn't generally all that offensive in the first place, it's more of a support. Espeon, which can be very offensive, depending on what build you work with. Rotom Fan has mixed possibilities, and Umbreon, which is generally more of a support. And actually, when it does attack, I guess it's usually, foul play or something, and not like Snarl. So yeah, their team is very physically oriented. But otherwise pretty balanced type-wise. And so that's kind of what we'll go into here with the build that I made. So let's start going over this. I forget exactly which Pokemon I added first to this team, but I'll just explain them all. Let's go from bottom up here. From the 6th slot here, I put my Arcanine in. And you can see it's got Intimidate and Will-O-Wisp. This is definitely one of those, again, trying to deal with the physical nature of my opponents. But you can also see it's more kind of the Arcanine that's intended for longevity with a specially defensive build, also Snarl thrown in, and Morning Sun to do a lot of healing, and heavy-duty boots so that it's not affected by entry hazards. Because again, my opponent's team has both Ferrothorn and Aerodactyl, so I'm kind of expecting them to use entry hazards. And you'll notice further up on the team, I do have a Defogger in here. So yeah, the first Pokemon there, Arcanine. Which I also in Flamethrower and Snarl. Flamethrower particularly for Ferrothorn. And that's mostly it. I also can deal with Lucario, I guess. And then Snarl to deal with some of the other special attackers. Again, this is kind of our specially soaking Arcanine here, because Intimidate and Will-O-Wisp deal with the physical side. Here's my tank next, is Conkeldurr. Pretty typical build. Flame Orb, Guts, high HP, high attack. So this one, like, I say it's a tank. I didn't put defensive investment in it this time around. Instead, focusing on a little bulk up there, which would in theory give me defensive capabilities moving up. And then Drain Punch, Knock Off, and Ice Punch. And of course, the Ice Punch is in there. Let me take a step back. Drain Punch and Knock Off are almost always constants on any of my Conkeldurr builds. Because you can see, Drain Punch will deal with Ferrothorn, although with kickback. It'll deal with Lucario pretty well, and deal with Umbreon. And then Knockoff, of course, Knockoff has great utility in general, and also will deal massive damage to Espeon. I put the Ice Punch on Conkeldurr because I really don't have a ton on my team to deal with Dragonite. Now, of course, you'll see the next Pokemon up here, Mamoswine, also can very easily deal with Dragonite with its Ice-type attack, Stab, or Ice-type Stab, but I always usually try to have 2 ways to deal with any one of my opponent's threats. So yes, Mamoswine is next. I've got it Speed Invested, Choice Scarfed, and then otherwise Attack Investment. So this is really... again, I can use it to get through a Dragonite, maybe even if the Dragonite has a single Dragon Dance off. Hopefully can maybe surprise a Blaziken, assuming it hasn't gotten speed boosts yet. Lucario as well. And let's see what else. Superpower, Ice Crash, Earthquake, and Knockoff. General coverage, I put the Superpower in there again. That would certainly help with Umbreon a bit. Yeah. Then here's an interesting one that I had, my Rotom Wash. This one I actually did use as an offensive build, even though it is also functioning as my Defogger and has a Will-O-Wisp on it as well. So the Will-O-Wisp is there. Again, I can spread burns to deal with their physical attacking, even if this Rotom itself is not that physically defensive. And I have the Wide Lens on it, because again, Thunder and Hydro Pump both in general aren't that accurate in terms of attack, so the Wide Lens is meant to somewhat correct for that. Getting to the top of the team now, we've got Clefable, Leftovers, Magic Guard, Combine, Moonblast, Soft World, and Flamethrower. Physically defensive, because again, we're boosting special stuff with Calm Mind, and my opponent generally has a lot of physical attackers. So that's what's going in there. Calm Mind, Moonblast, Soft World are pretty much givens on this kind of set. I picked Flamethrower as opposed to something like Thunderbolt, because, again, my opponent has Ferrothorn. And I kind of, while I was building, I really viewed their Ferrothorn as one of the biggest threats. Yeah. I could have, again, if I put Thunderbolt on, it might have made Clefable a little bit better to deal with Azumarill, but I figured Moonblast would do pretty well against Azumarill anyway. Because I get the stab with Moonblast, I get the super effective with Thunderbolt. Still, Thunderbolt would be better in that sense, but I really appreciated the Flamethrower because it would help a lot more with Ferrothorn. And if on the off chance, I run into Lucario with the Clefable, that's also there. And then lastly, my Volcarona with Lumberry to deal with, if someone throws a Thunder Wave at me or a Toxic at me, those are there. Because I know the Rotom can certainly deal with the Thunder Wave. Multiple Pokemon on that team can do Toxic, including Umbreon, Toxic Spikes with Weezing Galar, and Ferrothorn can throw some stuff in as well. But otherwise, it's generally an offensive build, except again, I've made it physically defensive with the EVs. Again, trying to keep that defense up, and Quiver Dance will boost all the special stats. So the sets that you can boost are the ones you invest in here. That was the thought process going in. Fire Dance and Bug Buzz are a given. I picked Giga Drain, because after Ferrothorn, I kind of thought Azumarill would be one of the biggest threats, because huge power Azumarill, especially if you've given it a Choice Band, or, in this draft league, I'm always worried about anyone having a Choice Scarf. I have a huge power Choice Scarf Azumarill I would be terrified of. But the idea was, hopefully I could get off a Quiver Dance or two, and then Giga Drain the Azumarill. Giga Drain doesn't help with, Giga Drain doesn't help with anything else. I could have, picked Hurricane or Psychic to maybe be that fourth move for Volcarona, but neither of those provide any significant extra coverage. I guess Hurricane deals with Blaziken, but that's about the only extra coverage that I could get with Volcarona. So yeah, that was the original team build for facing my opponent here, and actually I just realized I didn't reset my battles. One moment, I'm going to hide a window. Hide that. Okay, let's go back and set the battles up. Reset that one. Okay. Battles are hidden, and so now we're seeing the very first of our two battles here. You can see my opponent of the Pokemon that they came in with Ferrothorn, Azumarill, Umbreon, Rotom Fan, Blaziken, and the Galarian Weezing. So my question then is, what do I go in and lead off with? Now, I don't have any hazard setters on this team, so there's no need to worry about that. And so I have to think just basically what are they going to lead off with and try to respond to it. They could lead off with, the Rotom Fan as kind of a Scout and Volt Switch stuff in, or they could lead off with Ferrothorn. I figure in either sense, a good starting Pokemon is to send out my Volcarona. And I did call the Ferrothorn there. And on the first turn, what I did was play in with the Fire Dance, or Fiery Dance. I figure whatever... I can't speak. If my opponent didn't switch, that would be almost an instant kill right off the first turn. So I figured they probably were going to switch, which means the question was whether I do Fiery Dance or Quiver Dance. And I figured Fiery Dance will hit damage for most of the Pokemon. The only one it really wouldn't do much on would be Azumarill or Blaziken. And I figured if they switch into Blaziken, I swap the Pokemon that I have. If they switch into Azumarill, I could then do Quiver Dance and then Giga Drain. Because I was hoping I would be able to tank a Liquidation. And actually, I got a special boost on the Fire Dance, which is great. So here comes the Quiver Dance, and I'm correct that I'm able to tank the Liquidation. So I survived that. Now, of course, I'm in trouble if this Azumarill has Sap Sipper instead of Huge Power. But I figured, well, I put Giga Drain on, in theory, just for the Azumarill, so might as well go for it. Now, some people might already be seeing the problem with my choices of moves here, and there it is. Switching up with the Azumarill, I can tank a Liquidation. I could not tank a Liquidation and an Aqua Jet. So right off the bat, I am starting not turn 3, but almost off the bat, I'm starting down. I send out Rotom, just try to get the damage in, and there we go. I missed the Thunder. Not that Thunder would have done a ton of damage to Ferrothorn. It would have obviously done a lot to the Azumarill. But Wide Lens did not help me there. So here we go. I'm thinking, let's try to start going in with my tank. Send in Conkeldurr, and I picked Bulk Up here. I figured I could do something even if they sent out the Weezing. I'm a little worried about a Strange Stream. I think I shift here. I do. So I'm thinking of Strange Stream. I send out the Fable, and they put in a Haze. So not bad of a turn for me. They're scared a little bit of the Clefable while I'm setting up the Calm Mind, because, I'm hoping here I can start getting... Actually, yeah, I'm looking back at this. That I can at least get a Calm Mind in and then maybe go in with the Flamethrower, even though I saw the Haze on the previous turn. Hoping that I could maybe have outsped the Galarian Weezing. But they switch instead, which surprises me a little bit. They're coming in with the Azumarill. I assume they're trying to, again, hit me for the big damage. Moonblast comes in. It does a good chunk on the Azumarill, not a ton. And they go with Knockoff again. Oh, sorry, that was that turn. Moonblast and then Knockoff. So they send out Ferrothorn. I go for another Calm Mind to try to get more damage with the Moonblast. And now I surprise the Ferrothorn with Flamethrower. So now we both made a kill. I think it's relatively even. And here's Clefable versus Weezing. They get the Haze off before I get the Flamethrower in. So it looks like they're faster than me. I do good, over a quarter, but not a lot. So I decided to switch because I'm scared of the Sludge Bomb now. It does come in, it does a good chunk on Rotom, and poisons it. So yeah, I think at this point, yeah, I do the Defog, and just take another Sludge Bomb. The Rotom was basically just the sack to get rid of the rocks that Ferrothorn set now that Ferrothorn is gone. So what do I do now? I'm seeing if hopefully Because now, Clefable doesn't want to see a Sludge Bomb. Conkeldurr can't do much. I could have potentially sent in Mamoswine, but Weezing are generally physically defensive, and if I tried to come in with Earthquake, he could have predicted that and sent in a Rotom Fan. So that's why I end up going with Arcanine, and I'm hoping that Flamethrower can do a good number on it. And 40-some%, not bad. Sludge Bomb comes in. Thankfully, I'm not poisoned. He's still got the Black Sludge on, and at this point, he switches. And yeah, I was still doing the Flamethrower. There was this one switch later where I did do a nice predict, but this was not that. Arcanine's not doing a ton of damage, so I send out the Clefable, hoping to get another Moonblast in on this Umbreon. Now, of course, the Umbreon's probably going to switch, and it does, getting into the Rotom. Moonblast in, again, more than 40 damage, which I kind of like. He doesn't like that, so he Volt switches. And this is when the Weezing comes back out. And at this point, it's starting to get a little tough, I think. I don't necessarily want to take the Sludge Bomb. I try it, and it still does a good chunk, even with one Calm Mind off already. And I think I could have tried to Calm Mind again and started doing more Soft Worlds because I would have had enough health, but I decided not to risk it. I want to keep the Clefable alive, send in the Arcanine to do some more Flamethrowering. In theory. And was this? No, okay, not here again. He sends out the Umbreon again, still just taking the Flamethrower. We're kind of spinning our wheels here now, but I take the opportunity to heal. Right here, he uses the Wish, and now I'm predicting the Azumarill switch. Which happens. So there comes the Will-O-Wisp. Azumarill is relatively crippled, but it is healed now. So now I'm trying to get the opportunity in to set up Clefable more. Again, that kind of hurts, and now I've also lost some defense. Not a great turn there. I think I Moonlight here. Yeah, Soft World, yes. Now I can't really set up on the Weezing because Sludge Bomb does a lot of damage to me, so I swap out for the Arcanine again, as I have been usually when the Weezing comes out. This time Weezing poisons me, so my clock is starting to tick here. And I've still only taken out one of my opponent's Pokemon. Umbreon comes out again, as usual, but I keep hitting it with the Flamethrower. What did I end up doing on this next turn here? I'm actually forgetting off the top of my head. Oh, healing, there we go. That works out pretty nicely. Now, Umbreon is a Cleric, so that Will-O-Wisp I did earlier is now gone. I'm thinking this is not going to go well from here on out. I was anticipating a switch, so I tried the Will-O-Wisp again. Thankfully, I don't burn myself, but I'm poisoned. So here comes the Blaziken. I was predicting the Azumarill here, and he was probably predicting I was predicting the Azumarill, so the Blaziken does not get Flamethrowered. And here I switch to Conkeldurr. Because I know Blaziken is relatively frail. So I'm hoping I can smack it with a good Drain Punch. He does switch, though. I don't get to do much damage. Have I seen... Hang on a minute. Okay, he's only seen Slaves and Pezon, so I'm still thinking he could potentially have the Strange Stream. But I stay in for the knockoff for at least a turn, and at this point now I'm fairly certain he does not have Strange Stream. So I could stay in if I wanted to, but I'm not doing much damage. So again, switch to Clefable. And that does a big chunk because Clefable had not have any Calm Minds yet, and now I get poisoned. And, yeah, oh, that's right, yes. That was meant to be an Arcanine like I normally do. So that was just a big misplay on my part. Misclick, honestly. It wasn't even a bad decision. I just didn't click the right thing. So at this point, this Azumarill is ready to basically just clean my clocks. And Aqua Jet kills Arcanine from 50%, which I wasn't necessarily anticipating, but, you know, huge power Azumarill can do a ton. Earthquake does not kill the Azumarill. Even with my attack investment in the Mamoswine, Liquidation kills it. Send out Conkeldurr. I haven't seen a Play Rough yet, but it also has Play Rough. So again, came into the battle thinking that Ferrothorn and Azumarill were probably my biggest threats, and I did get rid of the Ferrothorn quickly, but Azumarill did end up smacking me around. So at this point, we have the opportunity to retool our teams. I'm trying to think of ways to deal with what I saw for the most part. So you're switching from, this is version 1 of my team, I switched to version 2. You'll notice I bring in Amoonguss in place of Arcanine. I've got a fair amount of fire with Volcarona and Clefable's Flamethrower, so the Arcanine wasn't helping, especially if he has the Umbreon Cleric. Will-O-Wisp isn't helping me that much. So I swap out Arcanine for my Amoonguss. For the most part, I keep the team the same, though. I actually retool Clefable a little bit. Instead of being physically defensive, it's now specially defensive. I'm hoping I can use Clefable more for that Wheezing. I've also switched it now. Well, actually, hang on. That's right. Not for the Wheezing. I just increased it so that it has a little extra survivability. Because instead of being a Calm Minder, it's now a Stealth Rocker. I noticed my opponent did not have anything to clear entry hazards. So if this was going to be a heavily switching battle, I wanted my Stealth Rocks out. I also didn't see my opponent really using rocks that much. I mean, they had the Ferrothorn do it, but if I can deal with Ferrothorn quickly, I don't have to worry about it. So I removed Defog from Rotom Wash and switched it from being the attacking prowess with the specially defensive attacking at high speed to now being more bulky. Again, I'm trying to help survive what I saw, so this is really helping with the Azumarill and helping with some of the other physical attackers on my opponent's team. I still have the Wide Lands with the Thunder and the Hydro Pump, but now it's Pain Split instead of Defog, because I'm trying to go for some longevity here. Of course, I am bringing Amoonguss to deal with the Azumarill and hopefully some other things. Spore Synthesis, Sludge Bomb, and Foul Play. He's got a lot of physical attackers, so Foul Play should help. Spore to kind of really slow him down if I can do it. And of course, Rocky Helmet Regenerator and Physically Defensive. I've switched my Mamoswine from being a Choice Scarfer to a Life Orber. I've also now switched the nature so that instead of being attack boosting, it's speed boosting because I got rid of the Scarf. Still want to make it be relatively quick, but now the Life Orb is there to make up for the nature for the most part. And now I've switched Ice Punch for Mach Punch because I didn't see Dragonite, I didn't see any of the Flyers, so Mach Punch to again help because my team is honestly on the slower side, especially since I haven't invested in speed in almost any of them. But the Pokemon that I ended up drafting were all generally on the slower side as well, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video that I have. But those are the changes I made, trying to prepare for my opponent's team. And so we go into the next battle. My opponent has gotten rid of Ferrothorn and gotten rid of Blaziken in exchange now for Lucario and Aerodactyl. And I think they also switched up some other of their teams. So now I'm worried because I don't have a great answer for Aerodactyl here. I mean, Rotom Wash can kind of deal with it. Mamoswine can maybe help deal with it. Lucario I'm not as worried about, but my opponent has made more changes than I did. So I figure this battle is going to start kind of going off the hinges relatively quickly. And they lead off with Aerodactyl. I lead off with Clefable. Now, again, I put Stealth Rock on Clefable this time, which is why I'm leading off with it. And the thing is, they use Taunt, probably thinking about Calm Minding stuff and such like that, but it stops me from using Stealth Rock. So immediately, I switch into something that I hope can tank whatever Aerodactyl throws at me. It throws a Stealth Rock at me, which I do not have Defog anymore. I try to burn the Aerodactyl, but they anticipate that Will-O-Wisps get the synchronized burn on my Rotom, and their Umbreon can heal themselves, whatever. I send out Conkeldurr, deal with the Umbreon, they send out Lucario. Now, I'm not too worried about this, because again, I've got Bulk Up, and Drain Punch, and Mach Punch. And I just now burn myself to trigger Guts. They're worried about that, so they send out the Weezing, which is a very good answer to Conkeldurr. And of course, now I've gotten rid of Ice Punch, so I can't really do much to Weezing. Now, they don't have Strange Stream, so I'm not too worried about it, but I figured there's a better way to deal with Weezing. Let's not try to risk things. I send out my Amoonguss now, which, takes a good chunk of damage from Sludge Bomb, but my Sludge Bomb back does more, so I'm happy with that. My opponent, not so much. They send out Rotom Fan, presumably because, Amoonguss is a grass type. I anticipating the flying move. It comes in. It gets a crit on me, which is not fun. But right here now, I'm thinking the fan is probably faster than the wash, so it'll bring me down relatively low, but then I can Pain Split it and really even the playing field again. It does give me the Air Slash. I do get off the Pain Split. It only does 32% to my opponent, so it's not doing nearly as much as I thought. Which, in hindsight, kind of makes sense. Rotom Wash is supposed to be tankier. Rotom Fan is not, so I probably already have much higher HP than they did. But at the moment, I'm like, why did that not do as much as I thought it would? So here, instead of trying to do a Pain Split again, I figure it's probably a better idea to do Thunder or Hydro Pump. Looking at my opponent's team, I opt to do the Hydro Pump. Just because I think Hydro Pump's a little bit more accurate. So they get off a Volt Switch, which brings me really low. But they send in Aerodactyl. And whether it was Hydro Pump or Thunder, that Aerodactyl is gone. So now I've made the first kill this battle, which is kind of nice. So they've got the Umbreon now. I figure, they've got, their Wish, their Heal Bell. I forget what else they had. But let me try to do another attack here. They have Protect now instead, which I guess kind of makes sense. Wish Protect is a very common strategy. I do nothing to them and then die from burn. So right after I make my first kill, they get a kill back. So what do I do now? Right now I deal with the Toxic Spikes. Send out a Amoonguss. He's trying to come in and do some damage, gets hit by the Rocky Helmet, and I try to do a Sludge Bomb. It doesn't do much. Umbreon is typically very specially defensive, bulky. But again, I've got Synthesis, so we can play around a bit. I'm not too worried about it just yet. He's got the Wish off. He sends in Rotom again. Oh, and I send out the Compliment. What was I thinking he was going to do? Oh, I was anticipating another Protect, so I was thinking, let me get my Fighting type out to deal with the Umbreon, but he did the switch, and now I'm at the type disadvantage, Flying versus Fighting. What did I do this turn? I think... Did I switch into Clefable here? No, I switched into Mamoswine, that's why, because I'm thinking of trying to get a good attack in, and Air Slash takes out a massive chunk of Mamoswine. So at this point in the battle, honestly speaking, I think I'm screwed. Air Slash did that much to Mamoswine, and Mamoswine was one of the best ways I had to take out a ton of their opponents. So I think, damn, alright, Rotom, this flying type's going to be faster than the Big Pig. I'm not going to be able to do much. I could have gone with the Icicle Crash to try to kill it, but it's not going to help, so I figure I ended up choosing Knockoff instead, which was a bad choice because I did actually outspeed the thing. All that speed investment in Mamoswine helped, and that other Rotom must not have been that much invested. So now I'm really confused, or not necessarily confused, but just surprised, because both of us have really done a bad job of anticipating what our opponent's builds are, I guess. Send out the Fable. It goes into Volt Switch. I don't know, I think I was anticipating the Volt Switch here, and I think I put a Flamethrower in. Or no, it's Moonblast for the stab, I think. Or was it Flamethrower? Yes, it was Flamethrower. So I do a massive chunk on Lucario, which helps me a bit. I think I'm anticipating a Meteor Mash. So I think I was switching there. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. He switched. I guess with the speed issue from earlier, we had that question mark going. And I actually get the burn off version with it, which is kind of nice. I get my own Stealth Rocks out because, it's burned. I'm not going to worry too much. It gets rid of my leftovers. I'm not too worried because I've got Soft Boiled. Now I think I tried to do the Moonblast. Yes, and so that doesn't do a ton to Weezing, but a relatively good chunk for something that's resisted. And so I'm going to go in for a Flamethrower next. It's got the Black Sludge that's going to heal a fair amount. It does a Pain Split, which works pretty well. I do Flamethrower, and in theory it's Kill Zone, but I'm anticipating Sludge Bomb to come in, especially after that healing. I'm not going to think it's going to kill. It gets the Sludge Bomb in. I just do the Flamethrower, and again, I think I've lost now. I've mostly checked out. It's faster than me. I'm just going to take whatever damage I can get, and then I outspeed it. This freaked both me and my opponent out. Like, what the hell just happened? And the issue was, it turns out it was a speed tie. Both the Clefable and the Weezing were at 156 speed. So it just so happened every time previously that we've had it, I'd been unlucky to the point of the Clefable always going second. And on that turn, the speed tie actually flipped in my favor. So that was surprising. It got me a kill. Meteor Mash comes in. That's fine again. I thought I was already losing and lost Clefable at that point. I send in my tank right now. Because I think, you know what, let me get a bulk up off, and then I can come... no, not bulk up. I wanted to do Drain Punch here, just for the heck of it. Now, the smart thing to do probably would have been the Mach Punch, because I could have gotten the kill right there, but I think, let me Drain Punch instead, get some other health. This ended up being a bad choice, because Close Combat comes in and actually kills me. Lucario there has a Life Orb, which we saw in one of the previous turns, and if you remember from my build, Conkeldurr was attack-focused and not defense-focused. So that was just a serious misplay on my part. And there's going to be a couple more here. Send out a Moongus, because I can take physical attacks relatively well. It dies to the Life Orb damage, so I use Synthesis here. There we go. Amoonguss is pretty well healthy. Umbreon comes out. Now I'm anticipating it's probably going... Oh, okay, it's the Heal Ball first. I think I do the Sludge Bomb then. Yes. So next, and then it gets poisoned again. Synchronize doesn't do anything to me. Now I'm anticipating a Wish coming in. So at this point, what I do is I switch into Volcarona. Because I'm thinking, oh, let me get a Quiver Dance off. And then with he's probably going to Wish into the Azumarill, and I can now, hopefully if I get the Quiver Dance in, get the Giga Drain in on the switch. So yeah, it wishes. Oh, sorry, no, I don't Quiver Dance here. So I'm just thinking the Quiver Dance, Giga Drain on the switch. Except he sends in the Rotom. And Giga Drain is just short of killing it. I really should have done the Quiver Dance, or I should have done a Fiery Dance. Because honestly, it doesn't make sense to have switched into the Azumarill because I have Amoonguss left. So Azumarill wasn't going to do much to me anyway. It makes total sense. I should have anticipated the Rotom, and I didn't. So that was, again, major misplay on my part as well. And we've seen Rotom with the Air Slash before. It comes in, one-shots the Volcarona at that point with another crit. And I have nothing to answer the Rotom with Amoonguss. It doesn't kill me in one turn, but Sludge Bomb doesn't do enough to help me, so it'll kill me on the next turn, and that's the battle. So lots of surprises in that one. And several notable misplays on my part at the end, especially after that speed tie thing gave me life. Yeah, I think that was I honestly enjoyed... I didn't enjoy losing both battles, and I think because I only killed 4 Pokemon total between the battles, so this was actually one of the most lopsided battles in the league so far. I could have turned it around there. There were 2 points there in that end game where I could have easily, done a better play and gotten through and maybe even earned the win. Like if I had gotten the Quiver Dance off of the Volcarona right there when I had the chance. That I probably would have swept at that point. But I didn't, and I also didn't Mach Punch the Lucario when I could have. So, yeah, I still got a lot to learn, but I'm having fun, and I've already got another battle in the books. So that video will be posted on Monday. Or, well, hopefully posted on Monday. I need to see if I have time to do it. And I'll actually need to double check with that opponent if he's okay with it. I mean, the 2 people who I've battled so far have both been okay with these videos, but I need to make sure I directly ask the person I battled yesterday. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed these battles. And I hope you're excited to see more in the future. In the meantime, take care, and I will see you all later. Thanks. Bye.